Heroes Return is part of a special lottery program called Veterans Reunited that makes grants to enable veterans to return to the areas where they served during the Second World War. I recently took advantage of this to return to Italy, where I served for 3 years and 227 days. I served the whole of that time with a special section of 8th Army Field Headquarters called General Staff Intelligence Civil Liaison. I was the driver for Major Cahoon, who ran the unit. Our job was to obtain information from any source by interrogation of civilians in forward areas, escaped Allied POW, and refugees from enemy-occupied territory. We also developed strong links with all secret societies and fringe units like the British SOE, or One Special Force as it was known in our theatre. I was able to pass their parachute course first class. We had 2 units of the American OSS attached to us, a maritime unit commanded by Captain Kelly, and a land-based unit under Lieutenant Teal. Both helped us to infiltrate agents with a radio operator behind the enemy lines. This was achieved either by land or sea, or by parachute. I myself helped on such missions in the mountains, mainly at night. They also helped us drop supplies to units of the resistance forces. This is the area where we were stationed early in 1944. The OSS at Piedimonte and us at the village of Sant'Angelo d'Alife. This is where I returned last month with my daughter. We had to go through the town of Alife that was heavily bombed by the US Air Force, and we found this newly erected monument to the US 34th, known as the Red Bull. Sant'Angelo was fought over in October 43, and these pictures are from that period. Here too is a memorial to the 34th, erected only last year by the citizens of the town. It also records the civilians who were killed by the Germans at that time. An embarrassing moment came for the mayor when some members of the 100th Infantry came to the opening ceremony and found that the 21 casualties that they suffered were omitted from the memorial. The 100th were from Hawaii, of Japanese descent, and felt discriminated against. Another older memorial incorporates an old 25-pounder gun. This recalled my memories of training on a 6-pounder gun. Here I am with my team after passing out parade. My mate here, sadly, was killed soon after this picture was taken in the late 1943. A car stopped and asked who we were, and was a town councillor who kindly offered us Sunday lunch with his family. He gave me this copy of old US Army footage from December 43. I think they are French and Moroccan reinforcements, being reviewed by General Mark Clark. A booklet the village produced of reminiscences of that period talks about trouble with some Moroccans molesting some girls, but I can't confirm that story. They say that Mark Clark gave them a pep talk. The story was that a group of French troops went into a house where 3 girls lived. The girls let out a scream, and a young fellow, Luigi, who lived nearby and played the trombone, repeated that noise on his instrument and frightened them away. This sketch shows the battle for Alife and Sant'Angelo after our forces crossed the Volturno River. They are the general route of attacks by the 34th Infantry Division. Another story is that a young man of 17, Giovan Battista Pacillo, showed an American patrol how to get round the mountain tracks to the rear of this medieval castle, to put out of action German guns that were able to dominate the valiant town. He is commemorated as a martyr on the memorial I showed earlier. This track up to the castle is like some of the tracks I had to use in my Jeep all those years ago. Guess what? On my return to Sant'Angelo, after 61 years, I was able to renew acquaintance with 2 girls I had met all those years ago. Carmelina had worked as housekeeper for the Prince Windisgrate's family for all those years. She has shown me wool from sheep up in the mountains where, as girls, they had hidden in shepherds' huts during the conflict. Her sister Raffaella had married and had 6 children. She had moved away, but being widowed, was here for the summer vacation. We were shown the extensive grounds, including the helicopter pad. The Prince works in Rome and the Vatican, and comes here at weekends with his family. These stone sinks are where I first saw the girls doing the chores in early 1944. No chores today, just smiles all round. Who's a lucky boy then? San Gregorio was the headquarters for Popski's private army, who are operating in the mountains, harassing the Germans and working with the partisans. Popski lost his hand in the battle for Ravenna. After returning to England, I received this invitation to their reunion. It was part of the Special Forces section of the Remembrance Garden. The story of PPA and my subsequent visits to Italy are the subjects of parts 2 and 3 to follow.